Hello everyone and welcome back to the Great Book of Grudges. My name is Nathan. It's been a long time, but we're finally back with Chaos Gate Daemonhunters, checking out the brand new DLC, Duty Eternal. A big thank you to Frontier, the publishers, who were so kind to send me a code in advance so I could check everything out. This is going to be quite exciting because, as you are aware, this DLC will bring in a Dreadnought and also some Techmarines, so you can actually change out your loadout a bit, get different missions. So yeah, we're going to have a first impressions and just going to have a little bit of fun. The great thing here is if you're running through a campaign and you've just bought the DLC when it goes live, you can easily have it sync up to your current campaign. Though for the purpose of this video, I'm going to start off a fresh campaign as it's been a while and I just want to have a little bit of fun. So yeah. And also, I will be streaming this a little bit after the video goes live on twitch.tv/The Great Book of Grudges if you just want to check out more details. But anyways, if you're hoping to start a fresh new campaign, it doesn't take long for the prompt to pop up. I think it was a little bit after the first interrogation and then you're pretty much sorted and you'll get this new mission type. It says Allies Under Siege, and yeah, it's very self-explanatory. This is the whole technophage stuff. This is the new types of missions. Well, the first mission itself doesn't count as a technophage mission, as you will just be going to help out some allies, and it's pretty simple enough. Just get there. It'll be very self-explanatory because if you're already used to this game, you already know how the mission style is, and these missions will also grant you requisition. They'll also have glorious deeds if you feel lucky enough to be able to do it, or just if you have a decent squad. As you can see here, it's day 101, so it's very, very early into your campaign, as it doesn't take that long to actually get to this day anyway.
Initial Auspex readings indicate enemy activity below. Recommend an expeditious advance towards the source of the signal.
Surely our fellow brothers are engaged with this menace.
Right, so you start the mission, and this is where everything starts going, right? You just have to progress through this mission. It depends on your loadout too. I must say that I kind of suffered here as fresh campaign. I should have probably waited a little bit, as I did get a little bit overwhelmed. But if you waited long enough to be able to get some interceptor spam going, because you know the teleport strike is absolutely broken, or some Justicars in Terminator armor, then you're going to be fine. Even in a fresh campaign, it's simple enough to actually level up some characters. Just make sure that they're the ones doing the majority of the damage and you're sorted. And yes, I'm very cautious when I'm moving my forces. It's very obvious here. I'm not sure if I'm the only one that does it like this, but I like to keep my squad as together as possible, especially when I know that they're not the best geared.
Venerable Brother Krask is all that remains of this squad.
No other Astartes life signs are detected in the area.
Rally behind Brother Krask and eliminate the heretics.
Enemy reinforcements. We have found them.
Okay, so we're a few turns in and we've already met up with the Dreadnought. My company's a bit worse for wear, however, this Dreadnought is going to do some damage. You can see that he's got quite a lot of abilities, quite a lot of weaponry too. I'm actually quite surprised because, well, you know, it's like very early on. But yeah, okay, so big damage all over the place. It might get a little framey when it comes to the fire. I'm not 100% too sure, and that's because fire effects sometimes cause some frame issues. It doesn't seem to have caused it here, actually, watching the playback, which I'm very happy about. But yeah, a decent amount of AoE damage, which is really good with the flamer, of course, and the plasma gun is just amazing. Melee-wise, it's really, really good too. There'll be a few clips that I'm going to be playing around so you can actually hear it, how it sounds, because I think that that's the most impressive thing when it comes to this. I'll leave the whole fight here, because I think that, you know, you want to see the Dreadnought in action, and this is probably going to be the best time to showcase the Dreadnought in action. There is something that you have to keep a note of, that while the Dreadnought itself is pretty much a one-man army, it works best when you synergize with the rest of your squad. You've got 5 troops here, some of them doing a variety of different things. Normally I like to focus on interceptor spam, but yeah, that's usually the best way to go. But having some extra fire support is absolutely awesome. Hell, it can be up in front if you need it. The missions that it shows up, it's very, very well needed. It's almost a shame that you can't use it, like, all the time, but I guess it kind of makes sense because the Dreadnought is quite strong, and this isn't the only new unit that you'll be using. In fact, there is the Techmarine that we'll be talking about a little bit later, but I'm going to let you enjoy the sounds of sweet Dreadnought destruction.
I will plow through. The shadows teem with malice. Well met, brothers. Come, let us dispatch these foul creatures. An excellent display, brothers. Another chance to serve. Unrelenting. My weapon is empty.
As you can see, the Dreadnought itself is more than capable to do a lot of damage. Hell, the charge is very satisfying if you can line up quite a lot of enemies and just slam your way through. It's pretty fun. It's pretty fun. And there's a lot more to this DLC. In fact, there is a event after taking this where you get an interesting dialogue.
Area surrounding the outpost has been purged. The Adeptus Mechanicus have begun to return. The ranking Magos Explorator has interfaced via the Noosphere. Message follows.
Actually, before you get to that, you already get access to your Techmarine, so if you don't have space in your barracks, you'll have to swap out a knight for it. It'll start off pretty weak, which is kind of expected, and you can level him up in normal missions. It's not just the technophage ones, and it's kind of useful too. We'll be going into a little bit more detail on the Techmarine a little bit later, but let's start moving on to the next section.
Rugen.
Magos Dominus. This outpost exploits abundant Archeotech caches predicted by our logistic algorithms. The intervention of your undocumented Astartes vessel enables operational restoration. Subsection 3.7b of the Precept of Equity demands commensurate compensation. I will dispatch the necessary materials for the provisioning of Techmarines aboard your ship.
Dominus, negotiations with outsiders are to be conducted through approved channels.
Nonsense, Brother Ektar. We must secure support for our campaign wherever we can find it.
Concordance. The Adeptus Mechanicus maintain outposts in this sector more readily accessible than Titan. Negotiations will yield further benefits for this campaign in exchange for Archeotech extracted here.
Excellent, Dominus. Please, continue.
One exception, however. Previous infestation yielded forced purging of our servitor stockpile. A 41.6% reduction in efficiency is inevitable and unacceptable. Dominus, logic demands a reallocation of your available servitors for the greater glory of the Omnissiah.
What?
Still feeling confident in our new allies, Inquisitor?
Ignorance. The Omnissiah rewards those who serve. A mutually beneficial exchange is inevitable.
So what was all that about? Well, that means that we can now get Archeotech as a new resource, and it's actually going to be linked up quite heavily to your Dreadnought and to your Techmarine. So the planet that you just fought at, you just go back because it will generate the resource as it goes. So yeah, it auto-generates. You can just forget about it and then come back when you so need it if you want to get some better gear for your actual Techmarine and all that. It just depends on where you want it, how you want it, and why you want it. and it doesn't take too long to get there. Keep in mind, obviously, you'll want to do that when you've cleared out as much bloom as possible so you can come back without having to worry about a planet then getting higher in infection rate. And like I said, it's all kind of linked up to your Techmarine. So your Techmarine is pretty cool. You'll start off with some pretty cool equipment. You'll notice that he has a servitor, and we'll get to the servitor a little bit later. But yeah, he's going to be as customizable as any other Marine. Same thing kind of with the Dreadnought, really. I just haven't really gotten to that point yet. There's going to be multi-videos on this here. Because there's a lot in this DLC. I was actually quite surprised when I started playing. I thought this was going to be like a 2-hour thing and then done, but I'm a few hours in, actually having a lot of fun. And yeah, they've got specialized weaponry and so on. You see that you'll need Archeotech for it. It's just a new type of resource. Getting new types of servitors will also require some Archeotech, and you can see that they're pretty interesting. The thing is that they act like a new unit, but you don't really control the unit. We'll get into it a little bit later. In all, I really like the idea of this. I honestly really like the idea. I think it's a bit different, and it's definitely going to allow you to have a different type of playstyle. While they're generally only good to really have alongside your Dreadnought, I really do like using them to level them up standard, because melee-wise, the Techmarine itself isn't too bad. I've seen it being able to do quite a decent amount of damage and hold its own, especially as you start leveling it up, and we're going to be going over all the abilities, because I think it's quite important for the Techmarine, seeing as you're going to be using it a lot more in standard missions if you're trying to level it up to actually be more useful to protect your Dreadnought, because you can heal up your Dreadnought with these things. I'll give it some time to play out through here so you can just see all the abilities just in case you want to know this a bit more. When we get back, we'll start talking about the servitors and just generally how everything kind of works with this DLC. So before we end this video, and by now I should have already started streaming, yeah, you've got combat servitors which act as a fifth, but aren't really a fifth because they follow the Techmarine around like a puppy dog. It's actually kind of interesting. The best way to describe it is it's an item that can also do some damage and has its own health pool, so you can use it for a variety of different things. It will keep following around the Techmarine. The Techmarine is the one that orders it to do stuff, but in most cases, it's just going to follow you around. You can use it to even be a blocker if you know how to do positioning all right. And I kind of like it. I honestly really like it because it's a really interesting dynamic and concept. So you can actually make it, you know, go into a support stance. So when you fire with another unit, then the servitor will also then fire. You can also decide just to put it up ahead to draw enemy fire at it, because when it dies, it doesn't really remove the item, so you can do another mission and you're perfectly fine. I'm not sure if that's intended or not, and I hope this is the case, because I've been able to use it in some missions where I've just got him in front, doing some line damage, but just taking the damage itself. You can also kind of buff them up with the Techmarine skills, and also obviously buying some better servitors. It's pretty cool. I like it. I honestly really like it. Definitely helps out on some harder missions where you're trying to level up the Techmarine and you just need some line of fire drawn. Sacrificial servitor. I know it's not the way to use it, but that's how I'm using it in my own campaigns. I'd say the DLC itself was a wonderful breath of fresh air. I'm really looking forward to exploring it more, as I usually feel that the best way to actually explore these types of DLCs, especially with a game like Chaos Gate Daemonhunters, is by doing some sort of live stream, as this game is quite complex. It's got a lot of different playstyles. I feel like you can change up your playstyle quite heavily if you decide to bring in a Techmarine. And yeah, let me know what you guys think about what you've seen so far, as I know a lot of people have been curious about more DLC for this game. I really enjoyed it when it first came out. I was playing it for like 8 hours a day when I was doing those live streams, and I generally just don't do it unless I have a lot of fun. I think if you're wanting to go back into it, you're wanting to experience the story at a different type of pace with some new type of weaponry, this is definitely something for you. I don't know if there's big story changes and stuff here yet, because I only got access to this a few days ago and I've not really had that much time. You know, doing one of these campaigns does take a while. It's a very long campaign, which is why I like this game so much. It requires you to actually dedicate some time and just smash chaos out of the way. And if you have Crow, I mean, it gets a lot easier, but I I try not to use Crow. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and let's start a bit of a discussion. Until then, I'll see you all again very, very soon. Have a good day.